Thank you for joining us for tonight's broadcast from Printscape Arena in South Point, Pennsylvania. A big round of applause to Todd Kazarowski and crew for keeping us on the air all night, and for that matter, all season. And also, I want to say hi to our frequent collaborator on TenbandTV. His name is Brian Mitchell, and he's going to be alongside me providing the color commentary for tonight's game. Peters Township has already locked up another regular season championship. They can go ahead and add 2023 to that banner on the far side of the ice here at South Point as they take the ice for the warm-ups for this final game of the regular season. PT's at 15-3-1, and with Seneca Valley's loss, there you see the banner, they'll get another division title there, but with Seneca Valley's loss last week to Central Catholic, that locked up the AAA division for Peters Township. So they'll be the 1 seed in the upcoming Penguins Cup playoffs, which start next week. But for Bethel Park, it's a lot more of a stressful situation tonight. But at least they have one thing going for them. The Blackhawks can control their fate. With a win of any kind tonight, Bethel Park will jump from 10th place in the Class AAA standings into 8th place, surpassing Baldwin and Mount Lebo. Mount Lebo currently holding that final playoff spot, the 8th place spot, via a tiebreaker. So it's simple. For the Blackhawks and their head coach, Michael Shaw, they need a win, whether it be in regulation, overtime, or a shootout. So, Brian, if we wanted drama in our final game of the regular season, we certainly got it.
Oh, Matt Gajtka. Matt Popchuk was on last night. I already screwed this up 1 second into it. I was thinking ahead of myself. I was going to tell you okay. I drove 1 hour tonight to say one line, and I might sign off after it. It's the last game of the year. You can't hold anything back now, but Mr. Gajtka,
yes.
If you're looking at it from that point of view, Bethel Park has an even bigger hill to climb. If they were to win tonight, not only did they defeat the Peters Township Indians, they're going to defeat the team that they're going to have to play next week. And, you know, a little bit of retaliation, a little revenge game for the Indians might be something that Bethel Park's going to have to work towards. But right now, Mount Lebanon sits in that position in the 8th spot, and Bethel Park, you said, controls their own destiny, so we're going to find out what they're made of tonight.
Well, Bethel Park, it's been quite the journey this year. They won a couple of games in early January to put themselves in pretty good position. The top 8 out of 11 teams make it in the Class AAA, in case you didn't know. But since then, they have dropped 5 straight, all in regulation. And that run actually began with a 4-0 loss to Peters Township at home with the Spencer Family YMCA. That was PT's first shutout of the season. They have since added another. And, well, tonight, as far as the actual implications go, we'll be focusing on Bethel Park because of what they have to gain here. But also, we do want to celebrate an outstanding season for Peters Township, another one for Coach Rick Tingle. And this team's got 15 wins, could be 16 wins after the end of the night. They've won 7 of 8 since the new year, and their only loss over that span, we had it here on TenbandTV at this rink, Upper St. Clair got a 6-5 overtime victory against Peters Township. There you see Rick Tingle along with the old Bethel Park coach, Jim McVeigh, joining on the bench once again, wearing the matching newsboy caps there with Rick Tingle to make the marriage feel all the more perfect for Peters Township.
Yeah, absolutely. These two, legendary coaches in their own right, each being on the same bench. It's just something you got to look at for Peters Township. I mean, they had a slow start to the season, and that wasn't because of how they played. It's just that they played a very limited number of games in the first couple months, and they've had to play a lot of their games down the stretch. Now, a team like Peters Township, who has the history and has the ability to just pull out whatever they need to be able to win, you don't know if you're going to have that little fatigue towards the end, but it doesn't seem like that's going to be the case for this Indian squad.
Yeah, you're right. They did have some games in hand for a while, and to their credit, they took care of almost all of those games in hand. And like I said, even in the game they lost since the calendar page turned over to 2023, they still got a point out of that one. So they're in a great spot. Bethel Park, well, the last few games obviously have not gone their way, but the beauty of it is they still have an opportunity here. Like I said, they are 1 point behind Mount Lebo and Baldwin, both tied with 12 points in the standings. Bethel Park with a record of 5-13-1, but the team to get past is Mount Lebo because Mount Lebo holds the tiebreaker over Baldwin here for that 8th and final spot. And Bethel Park on the season, Offense has been a bit of a struggle. They average just under 3 goals per game, but defense has been the big problem as they've allowed the most goals in Class AAA on a per-game basis. They've given up 4.6 per game. And yes, they have a handful of double-digit scorers, so some players to watch, including senior defenseman Luke Henderson, who leads the squad in points with 14. But they don't have the depth of Peters Township. The question is, how motivated is Peters Township to really push? And like you said, Mitch, this is a time of year when you want to try to make sure you have the energy to peak for the playoffs next week. And I guess PT can say, well, if we lose this one, we'll have Bethel Park again next week, try to correct the mistake if it does get down to that.
Well, the big thing you got to remember is these Peters Township Indians are playing this week. All the other teams in the top 4 are done. They didn't play last night. They're not going to play again until the postseason begins next week. So they got a little bit more time off. And Peters Township playing tonight. This is the last night of the entire regular season for the PIHL. So they're going to get a little bit of a break here, but not as much as the other 4 teams that are in the top are getting, and especially if they play the Bethel Park Blackhawks. It'll be the same amount of time off between the 2 games, but if they play somebody like Mount Lebanon, Mount Lebanon's got a little bit more time off, a little bit time to relax and game plan for Peters Township.
It's a good point, and every little thing can sometimes count big at this time of the year. One thing Peters Township knows, it will be at home once again for the first round of the playoffs. I believe that's 8 or 9 consecutive years that they have been a top 4 seed in AAA. So
that's an amazing
that always
stat.
makes it a little bit easier, doesn't it?
That's an amazing stat. I mean, you think about having with all the teams that are in AAA and have been through that, to be able to be in that top 10, the top 4 for how long? You know, having that home game in the first round, having the ability to say, hey, I'm going to play a Printscape at least in the first game before we move off to the island. It's something you always want to work towards, and, you don't look at that banner across our way without knowing that you got there your way, not somebody else's way.
They've had this streak of home playoff games, Mitch, so long that the rink was called the Isoplex still the last time, or the first time they played the home playoff game in that stretch, going back to the 2013-14 season, I want to say it was.
That even predates me, and I hate to say that because now I'm looking at it like I've been doing this long enough to realize that, yeah, that's definitely a good stretch of time for Peters Township.
So here's some intrigue. Kyle Thomas gets the start for Peters Township in net, the junior, not the senior, Nolan Hilbert. And there you see Jansen Sauer for Bethel Park. He's played all but 1 game for the Blackhawks, so no surprise there. Sauer with an .843 save percentage and a 4.39 goals against. The only shutout of the season for Bethel Park also belongs to him. The Blackhawks are in the black, as you would imagine, and the orange. Peters Township in the usual home whites with the red and the black trim. The puck is dropped and we're underway with the puck back in the Peters Township zone. PT actually wore the Reds last week. They were the designated visiting team against Cannon Mac in a 7-2 win. We had that here for you as we've had all their home games. But a turnover in front and a quick chance, but the puck drifted off the stick of Christian Strang, senior forward. He's a player to look out for if you're PT. But it's coughed up by Bethel Park, and out come the Indians. It's Will Tomko, 21 goals on the year, shooting, and first save of the game is made by Sauer. He kicks it out to the far side corner. And out it goes. Bethel Park on the move here. In transition, snapshot, and there's a save made by Thomas. And he holds for the whistle 40 seconds into this game. Kyle Thomas has a 6-1 record on the season, a .927 save percentage that is the best in Class AAA among goalies who've played more than 1 game. So essentially among regulars, Thomas has had the best rate stats as far as seeing shots and stopping shots this season. Phillips on the clear. Off the window, that went actually over the glass and off the concrete, so we'll do it again. Thomas blanked the Blackhawks. 28 saves last time these 2 teams played. So it'll be Ryder Mertens, the captain of the Tribe, facing it off against Ryan Tierney of Bethel Park. Mertens, a 4-year varsity player. Rare to see for PT, but he's pulled it off as Phillips flushes this one out. And here are the Indians falling down almost. Was Mertens, but he still shoveled it over for Newpaper, but he couldn't get the shot away from close range. Dumped down the wall by Hudson Phillips. There's Newpaper, the freshman, the only freshman on this PT squad. But Phillips couldn't handle the pass out by the blue line. He tries again, couldn't get it by William Alborg. Now following on is Tierney for Bethel Park, but he gives it right back to Phillips. Long shift for him as he clears it around near wing. Connecting on to Mertens, wearing that C on his chest proudly. Mertens with 12 goals and 12 assists. Even Steven. Camden Martin, the junior, starts with the puck. Left it behind. Zachary Mazzaconi intercepted for Bethel Park, but he couldn't clear up the far side. Owen Stasek trying to push it out. Instead, it's taken off the wall, but a wrist shot was blocked from Martin. The Martin wrist shot was blocked, pardon me, as it's gunned in by Bethel Park on the dump and chase. Tapped along by Martin. Drew Alexander. First touch on the puck for the guys in white. Gave it away in the middle, though. Stepping in is Henderson. Not the guy you want to give it to, but he's poke checked neatly. And PT gets the clear. Wesley Forrester doing strong work defensively there after the turnover. Luka Maeda picks up this puck. The right-handed shooting forward. Lifts it over the stick of Alexander. Now here's Alexander one more time. He gains entry. Fed it far side. There's Paul Mary. Zach Palmieri, first time we've seen him in several weeks. But he can't make anything happen in deep. Moving on back, Noah Pichora for Bethel Park. Shot it right through the top of the crease. Maeda gave it to Alexander, right back to Maeda as he drags it through neutral. The puck comes to a rest deep in Bethel Park territory. 14-14 to go in the first period. And again, tonight's broadcast brought to you by Steel City Spine. You can catch TenbandTV on the web at tenband.tv, or else search for it at Roku or Amazon Fire TV. Charlie Caputo, a couple of goals here in his junior year. Wristing one, that didn't get through. Hit a black-shirted Blackhawk in front of the goal. And here comes Bethel Park again to the outside. Good speed for Colin Neville, who was in the AAA All-Star game I had the privilege of calling on Tenband. The puck's pried free and slammed out to center ice by Peters Township. Mazzaconi to the middle. Deflected onto the blade of Caven Fisher, Peters Township defender. 3.5 minutes into this one. No score. PT, well, they've locked up everything they can lock up. They're going to be the first seed. But who will they play? Will it be Mount Lebo? Or will it be these very same Blackhawks? The Blackhawks need a win to get into the playoffs and get that 8th seed. This is offside on the delayed call.
Yeah, look good back and forth so far early. Bethel Park not showing that they're scared of these Peter Township Indians early. One thing to watch is their play in the neutral zone. They're trying to stuff them as they're bringing it in, but unfortunately, Peters Township able to get it in, but only being stuck behind the net.
PT's burned a lot of teams with their transition speed this year, especially at home. They get it rolling here, and all of a sudden, they can put in 2 and 3 behind you in the span of a couple of minutes. That happened just last week against Cannon Mac. The Big Macs are playing a pretty good game here against Peters Township for a while, but game got away from them late, as it has for many teams against the Indians this year. Ringwald left the puck behind, though. Taking it right to the front, and a deflected shot goes over the goal. William Alborg with 4 goals on the year. Tried to add a 5th, but that's tipped high. And into the screen.
Gift wrap play off the boards for Alborg. He was able to bring it into the circle. Backhand went on, but it was deflected off. The one thing that Bethel Park's had a hard time with is getting those opportunities on net so far in this contest.
Wrist shot from the point is blocked out to center. Austin Malley doing that work. Malley, one of 4 double-digit scorers in terms of goals for Peters Township on the year. Tomko's got 21, Kovac 14, Malley 13 as a shot comes through and Thomas parries it away, and Mertens, as I said, has 12. All strong numbers in just 19 games played coming into tonight, obviously. PT scores nearly 5 goals a game. Snap shot goes through the goaltender and just wide of the net.
That was tipped outside, yeah.
Hunting the rebound, and Malley, wow, he got a lot on that wrister. Nearly blew it past Sauer from 50 feet out.
Yeah, that puck jumped up in the air, yeah. Yeah, that puck jumped up in the air.
This is an icing against Peters Township.
Sorry about that, Legend. I didn't jump in there.
Oh, you're fine.
That puck jumped in, and I think a second stick came in behind. Wasn't able to get the number on the play, but he was just cleared it out as, I believe it was Ben Kovac coming in trying to tap that one home.
Kovac has 38 points. He's not going to win the point-scoring race, but he does lead the Indians in that category, as well as 24 assists. He's just 2 assists behind Zach Hardy of Upper St. Clair for the top spot. I don't know what you'd call that trophy, the top assist man in AAA. but he can gain a share of it with a couple of helpers tonight. Now it's Mertens circling the zone, but his pass unable to be kept in by Hudson Phillips. He has to toss it high off the glass. In it goes. PT's strength is just over and over again to get the puck in, whether it be via carry or a dump, and well, now they'll get it via a face-off on the icing against Bethel Park.
The one
Mitch,
thing
I've called Peters Township games now for 8 seasons, and it seems like every year they have 3 lines they can just roll through, and it doesn't matter who's out there. They're able to keep that pressure on.
Yeah, I was just about to note the fact that Peters Township, one of their strengths is they continue to make you move out there. They don't let you sit in a position. They don't set up in the corner and just look for the pass outside. They're constantly rotating and making sure that you're using that energy to get that opportunity.
It just gets old chasing the puck around all night.
Yep.
After a while, it just wears you down. Matter of attrition as Mertens will chop this. This is offside against Peters Township. Just about 6 minutes in. As Mitch alluded to in the pregame, this is the final day, excuse me, of the regular season, final night of the regular season. In fact, the playoffs already started yesterday, just in a different division. AAA will start next week. So we have some tape issues for Mertens, it appears. Had it rip off a spot. That's a drag when it happens second or third shift in. He's got a second one there on the bench. Mertens did win the face-off, didn't affect him there. Snapped in and pinned down at the side of the net as play comes to a halt again. Jansen Sauer on top of that. Sauer's a senior. Kevin Tiemann, the freshman, played 1 game this year. Gave up 5 goals and took the loss. Bethel Park last week lost to Cathedral Prep 7-2 at home. That set up this win or the season's over type of game. Shot by Ringwald, didn't get through. So the Blackhawks doing a pretty good job protecting their goaltender right now, but another icing call. So they're a little disjointed coming up the rink, but they have rallied well in the early going to block some shots, force things around into the outside. I was saying that Kovac needs 2 assists to tie Zach Hardy for the top spot there. Will Tomko cannot win the goal-scoring crown for the 2nd straight year in AAA. He's 6 behind. Braden Sprickman, as Rich Woods will shoot this off a leg. Into the corner it goes and return to Woods at the point. Sprickman, the defenseman of Cathedral Prep. One-timer score! What a pass across from Malley. And the quick release from Will Tomko.
Now he's only 5 behind.
How about that? It doesn't take him much. That was hardly a scoring chance, but he gunned it under the body of Sauer, it appeared, from that left face-off circle, and Malley, to his credit, found him. The shot was just too hard and released too quickly. 22 for Tomko, who missed last week's game, but he's right back on pace. Another 20-goal year for him. He's a goal-per-game guy in his first 2 seasons at the varsity level. So there you go. PT's got the 1-0 lead despite having Bethel Park being ultra motivated to get this one done tonight. A lot of pressure on the Blackhawks, though. That can cut both ways at times. Motivation and also pressure. To this near side. That was just a bit of offensive brilliance from Tomko. Slamming it in as Thomas makes this save on the shoot-in. Rich Woods, who hasn't played in a few games as well, nubbed it over to the far side. Paul Mary hands it off, or tried to, but that's broken up. Alborg back in for Bethel Park. Snaps a shot, rattles into the near side corner. On goal by Henderson, and Thomas had to be alert to make that save. Ringwald, again, getting into trouble, turned over. Henderson in the slot, shot it. He missed the goal, going to try to pick that corner on the left side of the net. Didn't work out. Maeda has to drag it around a Blackhawk and slip it in on his backhand side. Now 9.5 to go in the first period. Tomko from Malley is the first goal of tonight's game. And again, thank you for joining us on TenbandTV.
We've got an icing call down here on the ice. They're going to bring it back down, but Bethel Park starting to come a little bit alive here in the last about minute or so. They're starting to look like they're putting the passes together. Something to watch in the next couple minutes.
Another offensive zone draw, though, for Peters Township, and Tomko leans in. He's underrated physically. Big sniper, but he can also lower the shoulder on you as that wrist shot missed. Actually, it might have gone off of the stick of Sauer in front of the goal. Kovac lost control of the puck. Put his hand up in frustration. I don't know if he thought he was held or something, but play continues on as Pichora's wrister was redirected wide. Back to the point, and unable to be held in by Mazzaconi. He's got to go cross rink, but that pass too hot to handle. Tomko waiting for it to settle down before he wrists it in. In that type of a game, in the zone, out of the zone. Flip down the ice, the puck rolls up on edge, and, well, the Blackhawks can't catch a break there, as that was going to settle well short of the goal line, but it rode up on its side. And of course, in the first period, a lot more likely you get the puck just going a little bit further than you might imagine on the fresh ice. Fisher shooting, redirected, save, made, rebound, score! It bounced in, might have been off the body of Kovac in front of the net. Number 18 has got number 15 on the ear.
I'm not denying this one, but it looked like a hand came out. It might have bounced off a stick or off something else. When it bounced up, he tapped it as it went in. Oh, man.
If he kept his hand on the stick there, that might have been legal.
Well, I think he threw it, bounced it off his hand and smacked it with the stick out of air. I want to get a little closer look at that at some point if we can. That's nifty.
That looked like that might have been a real highlight goal, or Bethel Park got the short end of the call there, because on first glance I thought it was just off of his glove and in. It looked like he punched it in, but perhaps it was off the shaft of the stick.
I watched enough hockey to know when something's that close, and that was definitely that close. So I'd love to see that one again.
Either way, it's Kovac from Fisher, and Tomko picks up the secondary assist for winning that faceoff as well.
Ooh.
Watch out. This is shot right into the bench.
Oh, yeah. Somebody didn't like doing laps in practice.
At least they have helmets on down there.
There
I
we
always
go,
get
the
scared when
replay.
it actually goes into the crowd. Yeah, here we'll take a second look, or a third look.
Oh, I don't know.
I really don't know.
I don't know. That was close. Austin March was in a perfect position, though. So, yeah.
Yes. Yeah, so I have a good feeling that that was a legal play just because of how close the referee was to it.
And he was very adamant on the call, too. Let's make it clear. He was very adamant that that was a goal.
Okay, so Kovac gets it turned over. PT looks for a third here. Save, rebound. Where is it? It's under the goaltender, Sauer. Oh, my goodness. Newpaver had a half-open net, but he couldn't bury after the pinball action in front.
Yeah, I thought Sauer got caught out of position enough for the tip in, but that one, let's see what we got on that. Nice backhand off the pads, but doesn't go all the way. Sauer gets a pad on top of it. Oh, man.
Ryder Mertens was celebrating. That all three forwards chipped in that sequence. It was Mertens, then it was Martin, and then Newpaver for what he thought was the finishing end, but it ended up being no goal. And give credit to Jansen Sauer for keeping it a 2-0 game. That's a lifeline at this point for a team that needs to win. They don't have to win in regulation, but they do have to win, as Nebel will handle this behind the net. Centered it. Sharp angle chance from Strang, and he was denied by Thomas, who hugged the post. Back to the line, unable to be handled there by Mazzaconi. He's got to dish it over. Waist high to Henderson, who somehow handled it. Now Strang stepping into the offensive zone, ran into a couple of Indians there between the circles.
Ooh.
Henderson lifts it along, then he was crunched on a legal check. Didn't catch that number. Mitch, you have to help me with that one.
Oh, I'm sorry, on the hit? Okay, apologize on that one. No, I was looking up tiebreakers. Okay. You got me going now, thinking about this.
Snapped up ahead. Intercepted by Woods of PT. He finds Newpaper for the shoot-in, and apparently was behind the red line. Another icing. Icings galore in this first period for both sides.
So Bethel Park has to win. 1 point will give Mount Lebanon the tiebreaker. Bethel Park takes a timeout here.
Huh. Wow. Okay.
One
Well,
point
that gives you some time to talk about the scenarios.
Yeah. The Bethel Park Blackhawks split their season series with Mount Lebanon, but they will not have enough wins to pass them on the second tiebreaker. So Mount Lebanon will win with any loss by Bethel Park, will be in with any loss. So an overtime loss doesn't do it. Baldwin loses tiebreaker to both teams.
So there you go. It's as clear as just get 2 points. That's all that needs to happen. But easy for us to say right now with Bethel Park trailing 2-0, and Coach Mike Shaw probably sensing an opportunity here to get the attention of his team, make them realize, hey, it's not over, but it could have easily been 3-0 just a second ago. We have got to find a way to get some footing here, get some traction against a team that, as we already know, has clinched everything there is to clinch in AAA. So the rare first period timeout by Bethel Park, but hey, you can't take it home with you over the summer. I guess you could, but it doesn't get you anything.
Nah, I'm going to save it for
I'm
later.
sure I've seen a timeout this early.
But just so we're clear on this, okay? Bethel Park loses the tiebreaker. I'm sorry, wins the tiebreaker to Baldwin because of an overtime. No, they lose the tiebreaker to Baldwin, so Baldwin would be in. No, wait, I don't know. I'm probably not out of this. There's a lot going on, huh? Yeah, Mount Lebanon currently has the spot over Baldwin, so yes, it will be Mount Lebanon in if that does go. You made me thinking again. You make me think from Michigan, okay? You should be here so I can be distracted from thinking.
Usually I handle all that stuff, but no, actually, you have a reputation of breaking down all the permutations and calculations.
Next break, I'll explain to you exactly what my mind went through this past week when I realized Mount Lebanon was still alive.
Yeah, the Blue Devils are in as of right now. They're rooting hard for Peters Township, and so far, they are smiling, I'm sure. And hello to anyone who is watching with the Mount Lebanon contingent. I think in a chance to see the Blue Devils this year. Just a couple of the players in the All-Star game, but just how the schedule worked out. Paul Mary yanks this puck loose behind the goal with Maeda in tow. Also Alexander. He'll seal off Picchora and send it below the goal line. Stasek couldn't clear again. 5.5 to go in the first period. Goals from Tonko and Kovac. The top line striking twice for the Tribe. On home ice. Long distance shot. Sauer bodied that one away, but his teammates handle the rebound. Another shot by Forrester, and now dumped into the near side corner. PT's got to tag up on the offside. Delayed call. Driven in. Looking up ice are the Blackhawks, sent into Strang's corner, and that was not deflected. It's icing against the Blackhawks again. Bethel Park also, Mitch, has not missed the playoffs since 1991. How about that?
That's amazing. That's one heck of a streak. Oh, and this, a lot riding on this game tonight. If you put into perspective.
You know who just sent me that was our old friend Dave Fryer letting us know.
Yeah.
I did not have that institutional knowledge.
Me either.
And it's hard to keep track of that stuff going back. You're talking about putting together old manual handwritten records at a certain point. With just the stuff that's online.
There's only one person that I know that could have come up with that information, and I'm pretty sure he's still thanking people. Hi, Pop Chalk.
Give it on back as Mally Risset off the glove of Sauer out of play.
I give him credit for everything. He's a good guy.
It's been great to join forces with Matt this year. Odds are, if you watch TenbandTV for PIHL hockey, we're going to get a Matt. It was just one or the other.
Yeah, I traded Matts for a couple years here, so it was interesting. At least I didn't forget the first name, but if you noticed at the beginning of this broadcast, I forgot the last name.
I would never point to that mistake again, obviously.
I will.
I'll let you go. Hey, if you want to self-persecute, that's totally fine.
Hey, that's
Mally will flip this up.
That's one of my best qualities is self-persecution.
4 minutes to go in this first period, so Bethel Park calls the timeout. They're, I hate to say desperate, but Kind of feels like it right now.
No, they are.
Like I said, it could have easily been 3-0 as this is icing against Peters Township. So it hasn't been the prettiest hockey in the world, but PT's found a way to get a couple behind goaltender Sauer. We're going to change in lines for both sides. In case you are wondering, Mitch is live on site. I am calling this game remotely as I have all year through the magic of the internet.
Yeah, he's not sitting here judging me. So he's not sitting here judging me, so I have more time to do things. Ooh,
Too
nice
much
hit.
time, maybe, as a big bump behind the net. Kellgren knocked it loose, but Kovac swoops in for Peters Township to save the day. And look at Kovac, deke around a man. Headman pass. Deflected ahead. Malley left it back. Kovac, no, it's offside. I think we're going to set a record for offside and icing whistles in the first period tonight.
Nah, I'm going to save it again.
Peters Township
definitely
gonna win Class AAA. They've got 15 wins, 31 total points. They cannot be caught. Seneca Valley lost their final game to Central Catholic last week, and that put a bow on it. So it ended up being the win against the rival Cannon Mac Big Macs that sealed it for Peters Township in the end. Thomas holds this puck.
Yeah, that win was
Kyle
big.
Thomas.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Kyle Thomas, I mentioned just half of his stat line, a 1.85 goals against average plus the shutout against Bethel Park. It's going to be a choice for Rick Tingle in the playoffs. You go to the junior Thomas or the senior who got you all the way to the championship in the Penn's Cup and the state championship last year, that being Nolan Hilbert. Flipped up and out by Woods. Taken on the move by Caputo. He saunters in behind the net, centering play, and Levalarte and Erb were there, but they couldn't beat Sauer, who hangs on, sprawled out in his crease.
My apologies, Mr. Gajtka, trying to jump in again. It's hard when we have that many miles between us, knowing what you're going to jump in. You keep talking about the Central Catholic and Seneca Valley game. I just want to touch base on that one just for a second. When it comes to tiebreakers, that was a big win for Central Catholic, as that gave them the #2 seed in there because due to the penalty minute tiebreaker. It came down to penalty minutes to give them the #2 seed.
I often wonder how much that comes into play. You go all the way down the list.
A lot of sleepless nights, knowing the kid didn't take a hooking minor in the third game.
Incredible. Newspaper to the front, and Merton's backhand drifts wide. Merton's still fighting for the puck behind the net. PT's had the wide edge in scoring chances, and of course, as you see on your screen, they lead it 2-0. Latter stages first period, big bump in the corner. The puck comes loose. Martin, a backhand. That stop made. Newspaper settles in behind the goal. It's Martin cutting in, but he couldn't handle the puck. It was poke check from him. And then Martin, one more time, bouncing it. Goes in behind the goal. We've had no penalties in this game. Speaking of penalty minutes, both teams have been well behaved so far. This deflected off the high glass and over the high glass, in fact. In front of the penalty boxes, we'll need a fresh biscuit. With 2:05 to go in the first.
You're making me research again. You bring up penalty minutes, and I believe that there's actually there's a stat to look at here with these guys. Continue. Bethel Park, the least penalized team, 122 minutes this season. Peters Township, second least, 149 penalty minutes.
Deflected shot goes wide. Peters Township usually plays a lot of 5-on-5, and it's been interesting to me to watch because they always have the puck, but they don't get a ton of power plays, relatively speaking. I think it's maybe because they play cleanly, so the other team also follows up on that. It can be a contagious thing. So I wouldn't expect a lot of special teams in this game, but Peters Township does have the #2 ranked power play and penalty kill. Bethel Park has been about middle of the pack in both of those areas. Another icing against Peters Township.
It's funny you say that. Peters Township, 53 actual penalties on the season, well, for 149 minutes. Bethel Park had 58 for their 122. So if you took a per capita for it, Peters Township making it work.
They are never overly reliant on their power play, but usually it's right around 30%, and it is again this year at 31%. What a move, he's in, and he cannot beat the goaltender. Malley hit the outside of the net, the drag, but ran out of room against Sauer. Whistle on the dislodged goal.
Yeah, Sauer had him pegged for that one, keeping it low. Malley couldn't get any wood underneath it, but Sauer got the leg on the post and pushed it off. It was a good play getting around the defender by Malley.
Malley's more of a shooter than a deker, but he showed me there on that rush. He's got some moves in the bag. Tomko hard off the wood. Kovac, great area pass to Tomko. He's got some speed. Will Tomko around the outside. He's already scored one in this game. Centering pass, off a stick, right to Kovac. Doorstep goal! No, they wave it off. Penalty,
Flashing.
Oh my goodness. Malley tapped it in behind Sauer, but doesn't count. 47 seconds to go in the period, and Bethel Park is going to get a power play.
It's going to be Malley heading off.
We watched this setup, so Malley must have chopped the stick out of somebody's hands, and oh, well, never mind. That was a heck of a tomahawk slash from Malley on the back of, I think it was Luke Henderson, number 21 for Bethel Park. So those are two well-earned minutes. Mitch, that's about as violent of a slash as I've seen all year.
Man, jeez. Yeah, he tried to get his area there, and he got a little bit of the zone, but not much. Bethel Park going to head to the power play.
So Bethel Park, 7th ranked power play out of 11 teams, 17%. Here's Strang. The Blackhawks need one badly, whether it be at the end of this period or at the start of the next. They prefer it now, of course. Henderson's shot didn't get through, and the rebound cleared past Anthony Carner. Carner out there along with Aaron All. Strang. Henderson's at the point. The puck's pinned there at the side wall with 15 seconds to go in the frame. We'll go by that clock. Henderson couldn't keep it in, and the Indians get a crucial clear. Martin sends it almost all the way down the ice, but it might as well have been. It's going to be tough for Bethel Park to get anything going. Over the line, Carner didn't realize time was running out, and he held onto the puck too long, even though his teammates presumably were yelling at him. I could hear somebody saying 3-2, and time expired on the first period. So Peters Township gets goals from Tomko and Kovac, and they lead it 2-0 in a must-win game for Bethel Park here on PIHL Hockey Night Live, brought to you by Steel City Spine. I'm Matt Gajtka with Brian Mitchell. We'll take a very short timeout and bring it back for the start of the second period from Printscape Arena. Back for period number 2 from Printscape Arena. Shots on goal in that first period, 10 for Peters Township, and just 3 for the Bethel Park Blackhawks, who are trying to avoid missing the playoffs for the first time since 1991. That's right. The last time that Bethel Park missed the playoffs, the Penguins did not won a single Stanley Cup. Now they have 5, of course. Going for a 6th later this spring, am I right? Hopefully. I'm Matt Gajtka with Brian Mitchell. Bethel Park starts the second period on the power play after Austin Malley was nabbed for slashing in the final minute of the first. PT trying to sweep the season series. They have outscored Bethel Park 6-0 on the aggregate so far this year. It's the second and, obvious, the final meeting. This is game 20 for both teams, out of 20. Peters Township will host either Mount Lebo, or if Bethel Park wins, they'll host the Blackhawks here in a rematch in the first round of the Penguins Cup playoffs. 8 teams make it in Class AAA. From behind the goal, Aaron All to the near wing. Christian Strang sent it across. Henderson lines one up, and that's off of Thomas. Might have been deflected in front. Woods runs all into the ditch near the corner. Henderson slap shot, bouncing wide to the near side now. Oh, to the middle, a shot, save made, Thomas, rebound. Another save, and the second rebound by Neville. Bounced wide of the goal on the misfire. Oh my, Colin Neville. 7 goals on the season, tied for the team lead. Now Strang shooting, and that's off something in front. There's a stick on the ice as well. One of the Indians, looks like, is that Ryder Mertens? No, it is Mertens. He's kicking it along. He's going to try again. Can't get it past Henderson. So the Blackhawks keep it alive, but the power play is about to run out. Time is up on that. PT's back to full strength, turned over in the middle. Malley's calling for the puck. He's trying to get ahead for a breakaway. Takes the pass. It's onside. Malley off the crossbar with that one. That close to 3-0 just after Bethel Park had a couple of good looks. Now Tomko, Malley, score! From the penalty kill, right back on the attack. Austin Malley buries into the open net after Tomko gave a little head and shoulders fake to the goaltender Sauer, made him think he was going to keep it for just a split second, and then simply tossed it over to the side for Malley to finish off for his 14th goal of the season. From Tomko at even strength. 1.5 minutes into period number 2. Nothing Sauer could do. He had to honor Tomko, obviously. Oh boy, there was Malley hunting a loose puck again. This one shot off the outside of the goal. So Malley gets it from Tomko. Tomko's got 3 points. He's factored in on all 3, obviously, for Peters Township. He scored the early one, then picked up a secondary assist on a face-off win on Ben Kovac's goal midway through the first. And here he picks up the primary assist on Malley's tally. Malley's tally. How have I not said that before this year? What a wasted opportunity. Oh well. Got it in one time before the end of the season. And this is offside against Bethel Park. So the hole gets deeper, Mitch. Tough sledding now for the Blackhawks. Trying not to make history in the wrong way tonight.
Yeah, I have a further question on that, actually. This is eating away at me. How does it feel to actually get something that would seem a pop chalkism away from pop chalk and into your own theory right there?
I have to confirm that he didn't say Malley's tally earlier in the year, but
okay.
Feeling pretty good. Able to coin a phrase for once.
There's a reason why I'm only on a handful of contests, so don't worry. You don't get this type of color commentary all the time on 10-band.
We have to just savor our moments here, Mitch, together.
That's what we want to call it, and that makes you at peace. That's fine with me.
It does.
This is my clerk's moment. I wasn't even supposed to be here today.
Well, I'm glad you figured it out. You made the drive, like you said, an hour, folks, down to Printscape. Here's Paul Mary fighting for it against Mason Devitt Rader. Boy number 11 for Bethel Park. Devitt Rader on the chip, couldn't get it out. Forrester right back toward the front, and a little deflection there, but handled by Sauer. No further play.
So the one thing that I'm noting here in my head about this game is Bethel Park has 2 things going against them when they came into the game. You don't want to be behind big to Peters Township, and you don't want to be ahead big to Peters Township, because Peters Township is good in both scenarios. They can take those big leads and cut them down if they need to try to get back into a contest, and Bethel Park just needs to try to climb back into this one, keep it close, and hope they can get a lucky bounce here.
They came close on that power play just a minute ago, but a save by Thomas, a couple of saves by Thomas. Here's a chance, and whipped just wide. There's a goal. End-board rebound, Anthony Corner. That's a big one, his 7th. Getting it back to a 3-1 game. A 2-goal deficit now for Bethel Park, and it is not over yet. Alborg missed from the slot after Henderson's shot goes wide. It's turned in front by Ethan Cooley. Cooley to Alborg, and right there was Corner.
They got the Peters Township defense moving side to side, were able to find Corner at the top of the slot, and he was just able to fire one nicely. And that gives them that 3-1 deficit now, and let's see if they can build off of that.
Oh, just as you called it, Mitch, they got to get something, obviously, and quickly if they could, and they did, to get it back to a 2-goal deficit. Henderson turns up the far wing, couldn't get it out. Caven Fisher slapping one, half slapper really, that was rejected. Back to take Joey Wateska up and out of the zone. So for Peters Township, they're woken up a little bit by that goal. Bethel Park's had the pedal down for the last several minutes, counting the end of the first period as well. And this will be an offensive zone draw for the Blackhawks here as they get ready to go back on the attack. Bethel Park has lost 6 straight, all in regulation. Last week falling to Cathedral Prep. That set up this game in which they know they have to win. That's all it is. 2 points by any means necessary. On the toss down ice, this is not icing. Malley went to the front of the net. Tomko, though, to Kovac, scores! Ben Kovac whistles the knuckling puck past Sauer. On the feed from the corner, his second goal of the game.
You can't let that happen at this juncture. You can't let all that momentum you had come into a bounce off the boards right to a guy like Kovac, who you know can put it away for you if you need him to. It's a bad break.
4 more on the board for Peters Township. They averaged 4.8. And we're not even halfway through this one. They scored 7 last week against Cannon Mac. A handful is almost a given for this team, especially lately as they've gotten hot. Before the break, before the winter break, Peters Township lost a couple in a row. They got blanked on the road by Central Catholic, but the Vikings have done that to a few teams this year. And then they fell here to Pine Richland. So 2 losses in a row, but since then, really, it's been almost all to the positive for the Indians. And here they are with a 3-goal lead again. Alborg, 1-on-4, didn't have much of a chance on that rush as his teammates were changing behind the play. Woods forced it in, Levelarte centering, Herb can't quite catch up to it as he's lassoed down. Play continues on. No penalties yet against Bethel Park in this game, the least penalized team in the PIHL, as Mitch told you a few minutes ago. Herb pinning his man to the wall, though, trying to pull it away from Neville. Caputo latches on to this one. Stasek running into him. Aaron All couldn't take it for Bethel Park, and it's Caputo. Thought about passing it in front, instead went out to the point for Ringwald. Now back to Caputo from the corner. His shot missed everything. Might have been tipped. 11.5 to go in the second period. Woods down to the far side, corner. Caputo ladles it out to Ringwald. Cody Ringwald, senior D-man. Made a little pass. Levelarte eventually gets on the loose change. Levelarte had 4 points against Cannon Mac last week. He had 3 points all season. And then the 4 spot. From behind the net, Herb, wearing number 10. But rare, a low number on Peters Township. Ringwald shot, deflected in a save by Sauer. Aaron All just needs a clear badly. Shoots it hard off the corner window and not out. Herb overtaken there by Alborg, and he sends Aaron All away. All's shot weakened along the way, and it's an easy save for Kyle Thomas. Well, he's not going to shut out the Blackhawks for the second time, but he's in a comfortable position right now. Newpaver on the slicing move. Blocker save by Sauer. Colin Neville bounces this along. Scooped up by Hudson Phillips. Trying to usher it out. Unable to do so. From the corner, it's dished out to the point, and a wrist shot. That was tipped. Mazzaconi put it toward the mixer, and that hit something, and I think Thomas had to make a save on it. This is icing against Peters Township. Halting play, just shy of 10 minutes to go in the second. So we've got 3 goals already in this second period. 2 for Peters Township, 1 for Bethel Park. But the takeaway, Bethel Park almost just watching its season slip away at the moment. Down 3, needing a win.
To put it into perspective, the last time Bethel Park missed the playoffs, the league was known as the South Hills Interscholastic Hockey League, the SHIHL. PIHL wasn't around at that time. Neither was this rink, yeah. Or this rink, their rink wasn't around, yeah.
Gunned around and out. Yeah, Mitch, when you were stepping aside for just a moment at the start of the period, I said the last time that Bethel Park missed the playoffs, the Pittsburgh Penguins had not won a single Stanley Cup, so that also puts it in perspective. It was that spring that they won their first in '91, of course. Mm-hmm. And this, for the longest time, was the practice home of the Penguins here. Formerly the Isoplex, as I said before. Thomas not going to move this one with Tyler Kellgren right in his face, so we'll do it again from that dot. A lot of ways to say it, but 1991 was a long time ago.
Very long. And if you're scoreboard
Forrester.
watching it, sorry, go ahead.
On the clear. No, it's another icing. Go ahead, my friend.
Okay, I have a lot of time on these icings, so I was looking things up to talk about. I was anticipating that one. For the scoreboard watchers, right now, Cathedral Prep is leading Upper St. Clair up in Erie. If they win, they will take the 5 seed off of Upper St. Clair, and Pine Richland will drop down into 7th with Upper St. Clair sitting in 6th. So if you're watching that bottom, if you're here watching the bottom, it's going to be all moving around by the end of the night.
So if Pine Richland is in the, you said the 6th spot or the 7th spot?
They're currently in the 6th spot. Upper St. Clair is in the 5th spot. And Upper St. Clair is losing to Cathedral Prep right now, which will jump them in points. 22 points is Cathedral Prep, 23 for Upper St. Clair and Pine Richland. A lot of
top,
jumping.
it's Peters Township 1, Central Catholic 2, Seneca Valley 3.
Mm-hmm.
North Allegheny 4, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They're clinched up. Those 4 cannot change.
Maeda offside against Peters Township. So always looking for those rivalry games if you have perhaps the Seneca Valley versus Pine Richland, rink rivals, if you will.
Mm-hmm. And a whole lot of fun.
They're making a statement again this year.
And a whole lot of fun to watch those two go at it.
Seneca Valley, once again, is going to be the top defensive squad. I shouldn't say that quickly, actually. If Peters Township holds Bethel Park to 1, I think they might be able to beat Seneca Valley as far as the top defensive team, fewest goals allowed in AAA, but that's usually the Raiders' domain. They play that tight, structured style.
Yep, they're tied right now. 44 each.
High off the glass and out. Okay. Might be dead even at the end of the season. Tomko want to go back to Malley, but it's intercepted by the Blackhawks. Exactly halfway through this game. Dragged by Henderson into the attacking zone, but he's just got to dump it in and patrol the blue line. As Alberg puts it to the side of the net. And Carner already has 1 goal, nearly knocked in a second, but Thomas shook his head no. That's offside against the Blackhawks. One more time.
You want to talk about domination on both sides of the ice. They just passed North Allegheny for the most goals in AAA. North Allegheny came in with 94. Peters Township had 93. So on both sides of the offense and defense, they've been able to dominate this season.
Well, you add it all up, and first in offense tied for first in defense. Yeah, it makes sense that you are going to finish first in the standings, but it was a battle all the way to the final 2 weeks of the regular season. And like you said, it was tight with Seneca Valley and North Allegheny in terms of O and D. This put behind the goal of Jansen Sauer. He lets it go as the Indians try to work it out to the point. Instead, it's flagged down by Porter Erb toward the front, deflected by Levelarte on goal. And we're seeing this Erb, Levelarte, Caputo line get a couple of shifts in quick succession for Rick Tingle with his team up by 3, trying to choke the life out of this one. Like we said, Jim McVeigh, the longtime coach of Bethel Park until a couple of years ago, is now behind the bench for Peters Township. He's serving as an assistant coach / goalie coach. Our Matt Popchak caught up with him on a recent broadcast. I caught up with Rick Tingle, pardon me, about hiring on Jim McVeigh, and saying that he had a lot of respect, obviously, for McVeigh over their many years of collisions here in the South Hills. Long lead pass. Here's an opportunity and a shot going wide from Douglas Hartman. First time I've called his name tonight and nearly put a goal on the board. Now down again. Other side of the ice, it's Martin. And couldn't get the shot off. Rolling puck. That stymied his chances for the most part.
Penalty coming up to Bethel Park.
Our first call of the game against the Blackhawks will be whistled here with 6.5 exactly left in the second period. At least one. What is the referee's pointing at a couple of players? I'm not sure. It's 2 penalties against Bethel Park. It's a 5-on-3 for 2 minutes. It just gets worse for the Blackhawks on the road tonight.
Well, Henderson interfered as he was coming to the net on that break. But I don't know what the second penalty is. I'm going to wait and see.
Thought I saw a roughing call from referee March.
Hooking. Hooking was one of the calls.
Hooking is one of them. Okay.
Yeah, you're seeing what I'm seeing. I keep forgetting you're seeing what I'm seeing.
I am not totally without sight.
Okay.
I'm guessing Henderson with the hook, and perhaps Hartman with the rough. Either way, it's a 5-on-3. Tomko's wrist shot. It went through a traffic and just wide off of Sauer's foot. Out to the point. Ringwald to the middle, into the bumper position, and Mertens couldn't handle the pass. But with 2 extra men out there, the Indians have plenty of chances to regroup. It's Tomko slamming it again. Mally's in front of the goal, trying to cause some havoc. Maybe pop another one in.
Cross-checking to Hartman and a hook to Henderson.
Okay, so it's cross-checking and hooking. 2 stick fouls against the Blackhawks on the same play, essentially. Ringwald backpedaling. Tomko. Kovac put it off of a body and I think off the goal frame. Kovac circles the goal. Tomko's shooting, and what's the call here? Net is dislodged.
Off. Net's off.
Net is off. That's a break for the Blackhawks with 1:09 to go on this 5-on-3 power play. So you go the whole game without committing a penalty, and then you commit 2 on the same stoppage, as it turned out. And you rarely see the referees call 2. It just seems like human nature. They're hesitant to do that when it's already a delayed penalty, but give them credit. They saw 2 penalties, they called 2 penalties. I like it. Dumped down on the crucial face-off win by Bethel Park. So the Blackhawks trying to stay in touch in this game, but a chance off the post for Tomko from close range. The Indians get it right back, and it's Kovac. 2 goals in this game. Ringwald looks to line one up. One-timer Tomko, he missed the goal short
He's got 2 bars.
Gathered in again. Ringwald, Tomko, backside, but it slid right by Mertens' reach. Half a minute to go on the 2-minute advantage. One more time for Tomko, but this time Sauer reads it, comes over, and cradles for the whistle.
I was totally on team 3 bar there. He should have gotten that one off the crossbar. Oh.
Should be some sort of a bingo card situation there if you can.
Don't give me any ideas there, Matt Gajtka. I'll do it.
Mertens on the draw. Get some help there from Kovac. The Indians keep their big 5 out there. Ringwald shot. He hit the post. 3 posts on this 2-minute advantage for Peters Township. And no goals yet. Tomko toward the net. It bounces up in the air. And Sauer was down, taken by Mertens. And he centered it all the way out to the point, and no one's home. And I think the net was dislodged, actually.
I'm fairly certain the net's still dislodged right now.
That left post is off. The power play is over. In front of the net. Save, rebound, score. And let's see if it counts.
It counts.
Well, the referee never blew it dead. I still think they didn't realize the net was off.
He's looking at
was
it
that
now.
Mertens or was that Tomko finishing it off?
No, it was off. Maybe it counts.
Even strength goal. There you see. The left post was definitely off its mooring. Kovac scores it, by the way. That's a hat trick, not to bury the lead. I thought it was Mertens, but Kovac tapped it in at the post. With 4.5 to go in the second period, Peters Township has put its foot down on the Blackhawks. And Bethel Park is going to need something historic here to rally back and make the postseason. They need 5 more goals, essentially. And they need to shut out the Indians the rest of the way. Forrester to the front, deflected by Maeda and missed the goal. Now into the latter stages of the second period. The 2-minute advantage didn't end up hurting the Blackhawks directly, but honestly it did because it tired out the bodies on the ice, and I'm not sure Bethel Park ever actually got regrouped there on the re-entry. This is a penalty against Peters Township with Hudson Phillips touching the puck behind his net.
Roughing call.
So we get a rough against PT Zach Palmieri. Second power play for Bethel Park. They were effective, although they didn't score on the first one. So here we go. Similar scenario to the first period when the Blackhawks earned a late power play. They were down by 2 then. They're down 4 now. They don't need one quick one. They need a couple quick ones, but it all starts with one, of course.
Oh.
Henderson shooting. What did that hit? Looked like that was headed into the net.
That was a tip in front, went off the goal. Tip in front, went off goaltender. Another one.
Thomas makes that stop, and he makes that save, too. On the quick release from the sideboards.
Tyler Kellgren got in front of that one and was able to tip that one on net. Nice save, bounced back out.
This is TenbandTV's presentation of the PIHL Week 21, brought to you by Steel City Spine. They've been a frequent sponsor this year. Peters Township clears. Douglas Hartman back for it. Kellgren gaining the line. His backhand pass, and a good one, but a stop by Thomas on Ethan Cooley's grade A chance from the inner edge of the circle. Cooley has risen to the occasion lately. He had an assist on Bethel Park's lone goal, and he's been buzzing around the net. Cooley, a junior. Just a handful of seniors on this Bethel Park team, so that's one thing they can look forward to next year, is having an experienced squad. They will miss Luke Henderson, though. Malley on the flip out. Same with Christian Strang, who has 10 points on the season. Colin Neville also 10 points, and Aaron All has 11 points. So the 4 senior skaters all have double-digit points. So you can say you're happy to have a big junior class returning, but the seniors have been major contributors. Malley with the steal. Malley with the Indians shorthanded. A sharp angle shot by Mertens off the goaltender and out of play.
I think that left net came off again as he came across.
They get that worked out here for the third period. As Mertens slams it to the wall. Mertens has one of the Indians' 2 shorthanded goals, and that bounced just wide. Mertens scored an absolute beauty. Stole the puck, winning on a breakaway. This was last week against Cannon Mack. Slap shot from the near wing by Forrester, missed, and now PT dictating terms down a man. Mertens, deking, feeding for Malley, and he just shoved it wide. Malley going back to Mertens, stuff try, it's in! Another shorty for Ryder Mertens, and PT grows its lead to 6-1. Talk about quick hands, Brian Mitchell. How about that from Mertens? The pass wasn't exactly on the money from Malley, but it ended up working out anyway.
Just bounced off a couple skaters in the front. Henderson was there. Just hate to see that. Mertens just able to have all the time in the world to just tip that one back in on Sauer, who, with 2 black shirts in between him and the goal scorer, should have been taken care of.
Just the 3rd shorthanded goal in 20 games for Peters Township, but it's the 9th given up by Bethel Park. That has been a bugaboo this year. Nearly giving up 1 every 2 games this season, the Blackhawks. Those are usually killers. They don't have to be, but if you're not scoring a ton, it can definitely increase the sting. Nearly a turnover again at the Bethel Park line. Power play is over, by the way. Bethel Park 0 for 2, and they've given up a shorthanded goal. 1 minute to go in the second period. After this, we'll have an ice cut and an extended intermission period. before we come back for the third.
Final from Erie
Bounced
Bank
ahead.
Sports Park. Yep, is 4-3.
Go ahead, Mike.
4-3 Cathedral Prep. Cathedral Prep will finish 5th in PIHL AAA division.
Caputo couldn't take that pass on the doorstep from Herb. Cooley stretching out. Ethan Cooley looking strong here for Bethel Park, right to the doorstep, and he's denied by Thomas. Kyle Thomas, the last chance to make an impression. Or Peters Township figures out who's going to be the starter for playoff game number 1. It'll be here at Printscape. And by the looks of this game, it's going to be against Mount Lebo. Blue Devils returning to the playoffs. Pichora's snap shot off a stick and into the netting. So PT preparing, and this is an ideal situation for them, Brian, because they don't have to fully exert themselves in the third period, it appears. While their other rivals, many of their rivals in this division, are resting in week 21. Back to the point. Stasek tried to get it on net before the buzzer sounded, unsuccessful in that. So Peters Township adds 4 more in the second period, counteracting 1 from Bethel Park. Ben Kovac has a hat trick in this game, giving him 17 goals for the season and 41 points to lead Peters Township. That's your headline right now. PT just keeps the hammer down and 1 period away from going into the playoffs with 6 consecutive victories and 16 wins overall on the year. So we'll take a final break on TenbandTV. I'm Matt Gajtka with Brian Mitchell. Todd Kazarowski and crew are on site, keeping us on the air. We'll be back for the third and our final period of the regular season after this.
can't take it, how we have to fake it, and I know you hate it too, that's how it is. Keep it up appearances. Tell me, was it worth the story? Spare me every gory detail in your mind. God knows I've already heard your side. Betting you hope we can get over this, but I hope you know that we probably never will, even so.
Look at him, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, climbing his way through the corporate rat race. We've all been there, focused on that next raise, promotion, chocolate bar. Keeping an eye on your health can be exhausting. Weight Loss Direct is a personalized wellness and weight loss program. You utilize an AI algorithm to determine your specific foods and match you with a real-life coach and an easy-to-follow meal plan so you could stay on track to success and health. Check out weightlossdirect.com to learn more.
I can't take it, how we have to fake it, and I know you hate it too, that's how it is. Keep it up appearances. Tell me, was it worth the story? Spare me every gory detail in your mind. God knows I've already heard your side. Betting you hope we can get over this, but I hope you know that we probably never will, even so.
Look at him, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, climbing his way through the corporate rat race. We've all been there, focused on that next raise, promotion, chocolate bar. Keeping an eye on your health can be exhausting. Weight Loss Direct is a personalized wellness and weight loss program. You utilize an AI algorithm to determine your specific foods and match you with a real-life coach and an easy-to-follow meal plan so you could stay on track to success and health. Check out weightlossdirect.com to learn more.
I can't take it, how we have to fake it, and I know you hate it too, that's how it is. Keep it up appearances. Tell me, was it worth the story? Spare me every gory detail in your mind. God knows I've already heard your side. Betting you hope we can get over
2 jumbo iced caramel drizzle peppermint mochaccino.
Extra caramel.
That's us.
I'd love to join you guys at the beach house for a few days, but between my job and the kids, it's just not that easy. Not to mention, how am I squeezing into a bikini after this winter?
Keeping off extra pounds while balancing a family and a career can be tough. And 500-calorie coffees won't get you there either. Weight Loss Direct provides a 24/7 support and one-on-one coaching to keep you on track and guarantee you success and health. Start your journey at weightlossdirect.com.
I can't take it, how we have to fake it, and I
That's
know
fine.
you
So yeah, waiting for the good food.
keep it up, I'm feeling
We looking for?
Tell me, was it worth the story? Spare me
Oh, okay.
every detail in your mind. God knows I've already heard your side. Betting you hope we can get over this, but I hope you know that we probably never will, even so.
Two jumbo iced caramel drizzle peppermint mochaccino.
Extra caramel.
That's us.
I'd love to join you guys at the beach house for a few days, but between my job and the kids, it's just not that easy. Not to mention, how am I squeezing into a bikini after this winter?
Keeping off extra pounds while balancing a family and a career can be tough. And 500-calorie coffees won't get you there either. Weight Loss Direct provides a 24/7 support and one-on-one coaching to keep you on track and guarantee you success and health. Start your journey at weightlossdirect.com.
I can't take it, how we have to fake it, and I know you hate it too, that's how it is. Keep it up, I'm feeling sick. Tell me, was it worth the story? Spare me every gory detail in your mind. God knows I've already heard your side. Betting you hope we can get over this, but I hope you know that we probably never will, even so.
Park 6-1 through 2 periods in our final broadcast of the regular season, so call it our grand regular season finale. I'm Matt Gajtka with Brian Mitchell, and Todd Kazarowski's crew, as always, is bringing you the pictures and the sounds from the rink. The sounds are just as important as the pictures. Hockey's got its own unique and distinct soundtrack, doesn't it? Well, right now it hasn't exactly been a top 40 hit for Bethel Park. They needed to win tonight, Mitch, and they're down 5 going to the third. That tells the whole story, doesn't it?
The funny thing is, it didn't seem like it was as far away as it is until the last couple minutes of that second period. And for Bethel Park, that's disheartening because it's the way it happened. It was a couple mistakes that they were making in the defensive zone, some turnovers, the shorthanded goal towards the end. I mean, they seemed like after they were able to get that goal to make it 3-1 that they had a little momentum as they were building up, but Peters Township then just extracted their will and made sure that that was just out of reach for Bethel Park. So maybe that's it's sad that you see that streak that we speak of come to an end here tonight, possibly. And I'll still say possibly because I've watched enough hockey here to know that anything can happen on any given night. But, you know, it's pretty far out right now and a big reach for Bethel Park to dive back into this one.
And just a refresher, Bethel Park has made the playoffs, either in the PIHL or previous iterations of the league. It was in 31 straight seasons, 31 since 1991. That was the last time they missed the playoffs, regardless of which league it was in. Rich Woods fires away from the point, and that one's stopped by the goaltender, who remains Jansen Sauer for Bethel Park. Just wanted to make sure. Snapper off of a stick goes out of play. For Peters Township, this was a chance to keep the good feeling going and try to make it 8 of 9 in the win column since the start of January and make it a 9-game point streak because that one loss was in overtime. So they even got a point out of that one. This is a Peters Township team that was certainly in playoff position for a while there, but wasn't rising to the top as that shot was blocked, and back come the Blackhawks until we got to January. They got back from break, and they have stepped on the gas pedal in a big way. Have the Indians, once again coached by Rick Tingle, with the old Bethel Park Blackhawks head coach Jim McVeigh on the bench as an assistant tonight, alongside with Cliff Bumford. Can't forget him. That's offside against Peters Township, so PT one decent period away from finishing with a record of 16-3-1. Bethel Park coming into tonight 5-13-1. And this will probably be their 7th consecutive loss to end the regular season.
Yeah, Bethel Park, just to put it into perspective though, 5 state championships in that streak, in that 32 years. So it's not like it was without a chance there.
Oh, for sure. This has been a power in Western PA or Pennsylvania high school hockey overall. Thomas gets the whistle.
97.
But the down years come for everyone. It's just a matter of when. And in this case, Bethel Park will, like I mentioned, have a chance to return with plenty of experienced varsity players in 2023-24. Up the face-off controlled and spun back to the point. A shot by Mazzaconi didn't get through. Through 2 periods of play, Kyle Thomas has stopped 9 of 10 for Peters Township in net. And it's junior in his 8th part of the season. Holbert made 9 starts in his sophomore. Ethan Williams made 3. Michigan Peters Township, as they always do, nearly every year, they play 3 goalies, and not just as a token third, a real second backup situation. Or in this case, the backup behind the 1A, 1B of Nolan Hilbert and Kyle Thomas. Hudson Phillips retrieves for PT in the white with the red helmets and red pants, as usual at home. Luca Maeda scored some big goals in the playoffs last year. He's on this puck. Gave it back to the point, but poked out to the neutral zone by Bethel Park. Blackhawks in the black and the orange. High flip, out it goes. Rylan Jones spun off the puck, but Cooley has an assist tonight. Tossed it back for a shot by Klingensmith that missed everything. PT on a carry back in, and in the transition, the shot on goal is stopped. Pardon, that was actually Joseph Di Pasquale who took the wrister, not Klingensmith for Bethel Park on that last sequence. TenbandTV can be found on tenband.tv as well as Amazon Fire and Roku. Just search for TenbandTV. We're going to hand off coverage of the PIHL to our friends at Trib Live. This new paver trying to make up for an early miss in this game. Fed it to the point. Taven Fisher, high shot, save, rebound, off the body of the goalie, and, oh, Malley just missed the net on a backhand yank across the crease. Malley, who by my count has 4 points tonight, a goal and 3 helpers, was inches away from a 5th point and a 2nd goal. Malley had a couple of points against Bethel Park the first time these two teams met in a 4-0 Peters Township win on the road. 3 minutes into this third. No goals yet in this third. PT scored 2 in the first, made it 3-0 early in the second. Then Bethel Park struck back to make it 3-1 just after an expiring power play. But now 3 in a row again for Peters Township. And it's a familiar script, especially on home ice, where they've lost in regulation just the once this year to Pine Richland. Tip of the cap to the Rams for that one. I was just watching back those highlights. That was an impressive performance in here, a 6-3 win for the guys in green in December. Tomko, saucer pass, and Malley got a shot away, but it was blocked, and it heads into the protective netting.
I got a little bit.
Upper St. Clair beat PT 6-5 in overtime, just also rounding out the home schedule. The rest were all wins, 7-1-1.
Yeah, looking back as you were talking about it, I'm going to touch base here. Peters Township taking both victories over Mount Lebanon this season. You were speaking of the third goaltender, Ethan Williams. He actually started that first one in the 11-1 victory over Mount Lebanon back, I believe, in November. And yeah, November 1st, and he stopped 24-25 in that contest. I was actually looking back to see when you were talking about which goaltender do you start. The goaltender in net right now didn't even play in either of the games against Mount Lebanon. So,
interesting.
Yeah. Let's see that other one.
That's what happens when you roll 3, I guess, right? You're only gonna get a chance to see a couple of goalies against a given team on a season. Usually, this is frozen by that man, Kyle Thomas.
Yeah, Nolan Hilbert stopped 15 of 16 in the 4-1 victory back on November 28th. So for those 2 games for Peters Township and Mount Lebanon, Thomas didn't even play. So you have an opportunity here that maybe you see a different goaltender going into the postseason, maybe not.
I suppose I would bet on the guy who got it done last year, Nolan Hilbert, but I have been surprised by Rick Tingle's decisions in the past with goaltending. I think he plays it like you would expect about 3/4 of the time, and there's that 1/4 of the time where he pulls something out of the hat on you. So
well, I figure it.
We'll find out in a week.
You guess about what he's gonna do, and then flip a coin, and then do the exact opposite thing, and he's still gonna do the other thing. So that's how I go with a Rick Tingle decision on those. And he's going to keep that close to his chest till the actual game time, too.
Absolutely. Maeda from behind the net. Stops on a dime. Looks out in front. He has Paul Mary
That's a
returning to
goal.
the lineup. Today it goes in. I don't know how. Might have bounced it off a Blackhawk to make it a 7-1 game. Luca Maeda shot it toward goal, and we'll get a better look after we see the replay.
It was a knuckler that went in on the top corner. I'm just wanting to see, you were right, if it bounced off of something in the process. Nice little play behind the net by Maeda. Comes into the circle, fires one, and I think that one just went off the inside of the post. I don't think it was off anything else.
Well, Maeda's celebration was subdued, but I guess it was a 7th goal in a 7-1 game, so he's not going to party hard or anything. But just the way everyone reacted, I thought maybe it went off of a Bethel Park body or stick, but you might be right. It might have gone straight in.
It was it was like a really tough shot that maybe he didn't think he was going to get. Was he just, crossbar and down.
Okay, so Maeda's 5th, if that holds. And he missed a good chunk of games in the middle part of this season. Here's a chance for Bethel Park, but the pass goes in the skate of Luke Henderson, who had pinched into the slot because, hey, why not? It's your final game as a Blackhawk. Whistle and a stoppage in play.
High stick.
High stick on it brings things to a halt. So yes, let's not ignore the fact that for Colin Neville, Aaron All, Christian Strang, and Luke Henderson, this is their final game in black and orange. Also the goalie, Jansen Sauer, too. Not a huge graduating class, but like I've said, an impactful one. Including Sauer, who started all but one this year. Centering play, picked off by Peters Township. Babalarte trying to run the gauntlet. Caputo stepping to, but Henderson takes it. And he coughed it up alongside the far wall. Gajtka to Caputo. He hooks it back against the grain into the near corner. Henderson wearing the A on his chest for alternate captain. Unable to clear under duress. Lalarte. Turning this way and that, he'll feed it back to the point. Fisher. Guides it below the goal line. Caputo right to the doorstep, and Erb is stopped by Sauer. And nothing after that. Sauer gets the stoppage.
The other thing you're going to notice about a Rick Tingold-led team, they never take their foot off the gas, even if they're up 7-1. You know, they want to be able to make sure that they still play their game in comparison.
This is the 5th time Peters Township has gotten to 7 goals this year. So a quarter of the time this regular season, they've scored 7. Potent is certainly a word you would use to describe it. Here's a chance, but sure, isn't that the way things have gone for the Blackhawks? Couldn't get that shot through from
Penalty.
no more than 15 feet out. Penalty against Peters Township. It might be Camden Martin. He says, who, me? I think it is number 91. Headed off. The 3rd penalty of the night against the home team. Martin is still just making that slow glide to the penalty box, shrugging toward his bench. He's still shrugging. Time for PP number 3 for Bethel Park. Didn't get the call. We'll hear it from the PA announcer in just a moment.
He's still arguing his case in the penalty box right now.
I don't think he's going to win that argument, Mitch. Just a feeling
He's
I
already
have.
locked in. You can't let him out now. Play started, man. It's over.
Shoved down the wall. Pichora playing the point. Now on the far side, Hartman cracks it below the goal line. Kellgren to Hartman. Puts it in the skates of Malley. Good move. Kellgren falling on near side.
Off.
It just didn't connect for Bethel Park, and
Net's
the
off
net
again.
is off its moorings. Well, we've seen a goal scored into a dislodged net, we believe. It was Kovac's 3rd goal. The one that made it 5-1 Peters Township with 4.5 to go in the 2nd period. But it was undetected by the officiating crew. At least I think it was undetected. This is now the 3rd time in the last 4 games that PT scored 7 goals. I've caught a lot of goals over the last month or so. The guys in red and black. Up the wall, but not out. There's not a lot of dramatic games either in this win streak. About to reach 6 for Peters Township. Tomko cranking one on net. Fought off by Sauer. Tomko has a goal in this game, a couple of assists too. It is a power play for Bethel Park. The Blackhawks' 3rd of the night. They've given up a shorthanded goal in this game. They have not scored on the power play. Nearly turned over, but here's Hartman. He keeps going, and a snap save by Thomas, and he keeps it head high. He grabbed that one. Peters Township played a close game against Upper St. Clair 2 weeks ago. That was on the road. Matt Popchak was on the call for that one, I believe, at the Ice Castle. That was 2-1. Then, again, Upper St. Clair, a 6-5 loss to the Panthers here in the middle of January. Since the new year, if you're not Upper St. Clair, you've gotten essentially blown out by Peters Township. I've been impressed by the Panthers this season. I think they're going to make some noise. I've seen them look really good in a couple of games against PT this year. This shot deflected off the rink. They have that top line, Mitch, of Sawarski, Hardy, and Ruffner. Best line in the league, I believe.
They are dynamic, and you say that about Upper St. Clair, but look at AAA. Anybody right now can pick up and take this one away if they need to. Cathedral Prep had a good start to the season. Now they're coming back. They were able to finish 5th in this division. Pine Richland starting out slow. Now they're up there battling in the postseason. They were, of course, I think 0-5 to start the season or something like that. In those numbers, they're up there now. Upper St. Clair, another slow start to that, and you know, North Allegheny and Seneca Valley always up in the top 4. So if you can get to the island, and it's hard to say, it sucks to say it this way, but if you can get to the island, anybody that can get there has a chance. It's not that you're going to be in a position where, oh, well, it's going to be one team that's going to take it the entire way. If you get to that semifinal, then you got that big opportunity because anything can happen at that point. You just got to get out of the first round.
There's a break back for Peters Township. Newpaver couldn't pick his way by the defending of Klingensmith. Goaltender Sauer was looking for that shot. It never came through. Henderson had the best chance on that power play for Bethel Park. But now it's over. The Hawks are 0 for 3. Another way of looking at it, Peters Township is 3 for 3 on the penalty kill. Newpaver couldn't get by again on that left side. I believe again that was Klingensmith who held his ground. The battle is on in the Peters Township zone. They've scored 1 goal in this period by that man, Luca Maeda, whose pass does not connect. Mason Devitt Rader on the lead feed, but intercepted at the line by Palmieri as it bounced into legs out by the blue. Backhanded clear by Ryan Tierney. Shot back into the attacking zone by Peters Township. Newpaver took out a man behind the net, and Newpaver, to his credit, checked to see if that Blackhawk was okay. Didn't catch the number. And now the Blackhawks move in counter. Attack mode. Alborg. Nice play to center it from his side, essentially, from behind the net, but didn't go to a Blackhawk stick. And Peters Township sends it out of danger. No icing here. Play allowed to continue on with 6 minutes to go in the regular season for everybody in Class AAA.
Crazy, ain't it? We only have one more game to play after this. Total for the entire league in the regular season.
A 5-month regular season. This is week 21, turning play by Cooley. Couldn't get it on frame. Snapper from out high. That was blocked as well. Here comes Levelarte on a breakaway, and he missed the net. Maybe Sauer got a piece, and the net is dislodged. Anthony Levelarte, I told you, it was a bonanza for him last week. A goal and 3 assists against Camden Mac. He's got 7 points on the year, the senior. That was his best chance, maybe all season, to do something memorable. The goal wasn't memorable last week, but when you have a breakaway, those are the ones you dream about as a youngster. Deflected ahead. Strang is on the chase here for Bethel Park. He's rubbed out on a strong check by Rich Woods. Looking for a guy to lay the lumber. It's Woods, you would imagine, a couple of different ways. Aaron All turning in the middle and intercepted. Caputo, he's got Levelarte with him. Charlie Caputo settles it down and shoots, and it was a pass off pads, but Levelarte just couldn't handle it. A little too hot. Off the leg of Sauer to the side of the net. Blackhawks couldn't get the shot away, but now Strang, smooth deke on his backhand. Caputo with the back check to break up that dish, looking for Aaron All in the right corner. And it's Caputo again. He escapes once more with 4.5 to go in regulation time. Bethel Park came in needing a win, and it just got away from them in the second period. We're down 2 after 1, but they gave up 4 more in the second. And this third has played out about as you would expect, with the number 1 team, Peters Township, in the league. Not running out the clock, but not giving Bethel Park much of a chance to get back into it as Hudson Phillips pumps one on goal. And Sauer pins it to that Blackhawk logo on his chest. Another number 1 seed for Peters Township going into the Penguins Cup playoffs. It'll be here. It'll be against Mount Lebo. Can safely say with 4 to go and a 6-goal margin. Blue Devils against Indians. in the 1 versus 8 matchup. Phillips guides it deep off the kick plate. Palmieri,
save.
Erb in front, and a tic-tac-toe play stopped by Sauer. The senior goalie gets one more highlight moment as he robbed Newpaver for the second time tonight. Well, Newpaver's a freshman. He'll have plenty more chances. Sauer will not after tonight, at least not in high school hockey, and another penalty behind the play. As sticks and gloves came up.
Cross check on Newpaver.
Newpaver frustrated. He feels like he should have at least one tonight, and he's right. But the great equalizer in hockey, the great unknown at times, goaltending. And every good shooter will say, well, I could have placed that better, but every goaltender could also say, well, I should have had that one as well. So the eternal question, how much of it is finishing, how much of it is goaltending? It's always a little bit of both. On this near side, chipped out by Peters Township, 4th power play for Bethel Park. Cross-checking the minor against Cole Newpaver. Gives PT another chance to creep closer to 90% efficiency on the season. They came into tonight 86% on the penalty kill. Bethel Park was 17% on the power play. Probably dropped about a percentage point with the 0 for 3 so far. On the entry, Hartman makes the pass over to Kellgren. He and Kellgren have played that right side pretty well in this power play today. Big slap shot, missed high. Down the wall goes Mazzaconi. He's the one who let that one fly a minute ago. Guess what? Another penalty coming. And I think this is against Bethel Park. Both referees had their arms in the air. We'll see if it's more than one penalty. It was at one point in this game. Bethel Park's only 2 penalties, in fact, until now, were committed in the same sequence.
Mazzaconi heads off. I think he got the extra, too.
Yeah, I saw the unsportsmanlike signal. Might be 2 and a 10 for Zach Mazzaconi, junior D-man. So it'll kill the rest of the power play. We'll play 4-on-4. And then PT will have a short advantage on the back end of this in 57 seconds. Well, not that short, actually, a little over a minute. At this point, they're just trying to get to the finish line.
Yep, 2 and a 10.
Is that a checking from behind call that I heard? Henderson on the handoff. Neville back to Henderson, but he was confronted in the circle. Back out to the point. Shot goes wide. Neville slipped it around an Indian, now in front of the net. Cradled and shot deep. Under 2 to go in the third. And in the season, it appears. Henderson a high toss. Softly down to Rich Woods of Peters Township. Mason Devitt Rader turned, couldn't get it. Turning shot by Malley. Fought off by Jansen Sauer. Down to the final minute plus of his high school career. Woods. Another shot, and Devitt Rader got his stick in the way to tip it out of play. Well, it's been a great season here on TenbandTV. We've expanded our offerings significantly, multiple games per week, in some cases multiple doubleheaders per week. We're looking forward to bigger and better next year, some newer technology, hence the boss man, Todd Kazarowski. I'm intrigued by that. No truth to the rumor I'll be presenting via hologram next year at Printscape Arena.
Don't roll it out. Don't roll it out, but ask for more.
That's always a good policy. Aaron All couldn't get that on net. It was blocked. Ryan Tierney on it here. Peters Township was a short power play. Less than a half minute to go on it as All plays it to an open wing. 16 seconds to go, and we have another penalty.
Yep.
We do. They're adding up at the end,
Peters with the trip.
as they sometimes do.
It's New Paver again.
New Paver again. Just came out of the box. First shift back out. He's back in. But anyway, I want to thank all of the sponsors, the athletes, the coaches, the organizations, and the PIHL itself, the head office, for all of its support of what we've done this year. And in my case, not even being in Western Pennsylvania to be able to add to the whole presentation. So that's been a thrill for me for the second straight season. Calling games remotely, I mentioned Matt Popchak. Had Brian Mitchell on a few broadcasts this year. Heard him at the All-Star game as well. Chris Beddick snapped off a glove. Last chance for the Blackhawks as Strang missed the goal in his final attempt of his career. Indians win. Indians win 7-1. Peters Township, regular season at 16-3-1. First place in AAA, and Kyle Thomas gets a big hug from Zach Palmieri after the final buzzer sounds. Ben Kovac scores a hat trick. Austin Malley has 4 points by my count. Will Tomko with 3. Also goal scorers for PT, Ryder Mertens, the captain, on the board, and Luca Maeda here in the third. And there you see, congratulations to the 5 seniors for Bethel Park. Colin Neville, Aaron All, Christian Strang, Luke Henderson, and the starting goaltender tonight, Jansen Sauer. BP's lone goal scored by a junior, Anthony Carner, with William Alborg and Ethan Cooley getting the assist. It was an all-junior goal, in fact, for Bethel Park. But BP will miss the playoffs for the first time since 1991. That 32-year run comes to an end for head coach Michael Shaw as his team finishes with 7 consecutive losses and a record of 14-1. They end up a couple of points out of the 8th and final spot, which will be taken, Brian Mitchell, by Mount Lebo. And we'll see the Blue Devils here at Printscape in South Point next week for the 1-8 matchup as we start the Penguins Cup playoffs.
Yep, the Blue Devils will be dancing. Welcome to the dance, Mount Lebanon, out of nowhere. And I think I mentioned it earlier, didn't get a chance to reach out to it. I was shocked last week whenever I realized they were in the hunt. I didn't pay attention to their actual standings as we were going, and that was my mistake. And now Lebanon making me look bad once again this year. So congratulations to Austin Martin and everybody from the Blue Devils, of course, the goaltender and senior goaltender this year with a heck of a career, being able to extend it one more time. So look forward to watching that game next week, wherever it ends up.
I'm sure proving you wrong, Brian, was their primary motivation down the stretch.
I'm pretty sure that I don't even exist in their world, sir.
You're probably right.
Yep.
let us not get any big heads here behind the microphone, although it does tend to happen
I don't.
to people in this profession from
I
time to time.
I wasn't even supposed to be here today.
You got in that final line, and I do appreciate it. Well, that's it for us. Game 20 is in the books for Peters Township and for essentially everybody in Class AAA. As Brian said, we have one more regular season game later this week in the PIHL. But other than that, it's the best time of the year. It's Penguins Cup playoff time. We ask you to come on out, support your local programs, and keep track of all the action at PIHLhockey.com. Like we said, we are handing over our coverage duties, at least as far as video is concerned, to our friends at Trib Live. So keep an eye on their platforms for all of your Penguins Cup playoff coverage. For Brian Mitchell, for Todd Kazarowski and crew, heck, why not? For Matt Popchak one more time, I'm Matt Gajtka saying good night one last time in the 2022-23 regular season. I've had a blast. Hope you have had a blast too. And like I said, we're looking forward to much more in the month of March, as we always do. Good night. God bless. I'll talk to you next season on TenbandTV.